Artificial intelligence and machine learning are transforming our worlds today in wonderful ways. But there is a dark side about machine learning which needs to be talked about. The problem is the environmental impact of running these machine learning models, that is based on how much electricity they use. In 2019, a shocking article was published based on research on how much electricity and how much environmental impact that electricity has is used to train typical machine learning models. And here we have the model that training a single AI model can emit as much carbon as 5 cars in their lifetimes. That is a single AI model. And the article further details that that's really a baseline because in a major AI project, several models could be trained with corresponding impacts. And this article came as a surprise because for a long time, AI and machine learning scientists have known that there must be some impact, but this was the first to really quantify it in such a blatant way. So this video is not primarily to complain about the problem, but it's about highlighting it and proposing some solutions. So the first step in any kind of solution is to acknowledge the environmental problem and to take responsibility for it. That is, once we know, we have to realize that yes, this is a problem, and if I'm an AI scientist, if I'm a manager that uses machine learning or has a team that does, this is my responsibility. So one baseline is to actually measure the environmental impact of your machine learning projects. I have here a link to a website that is dedicated to that, machine learning carbon dioxide impact on the calculator, where based on this, you can enter the kind of hardware you're using, which cloud provider you're running on, where it's being done, and based on this estimate, so I'll just enter the defaults here and compute, and it gives you an estimate of how much carbon is actually being emitted. And it might tell you if your cloud provider actually offsets the carbon, which leads to now, once you know what the impact is, you can quantify that as a cost. That is a cost in euros. So when you're calculating how much profit your machine learning algorithm is giving you, well, there's a cost there that needs to be deducted from the profit so that you realize that this does have a cost relative to the environment. Because really, that's how we got into this environmental mess, the fact that people have been polluting for centuries, literally, but we never took personal responsibility for it. We left it for others or to other generations and let it go out in the air. But once we can calculate this, we can incorporate it into our costs and we can be a net cleaner of the earth instead of a net dirtier. Then one basic thing we can do is to choose environmentally friendly cloud providers. Even as you might have noticed in this calculator, when Google Cloud Platform was used by default, Google Cloud actually is carbon neutral. So anything you run on it is offset by carbon credits by Google. And Azure Cloud with Microsoft does the same thing. And that's also the case here with Amazon Web Services. But then if you're using private infrastructure of your own, well, that might not be the case. Here is a link that identifies some carbon neutral or cloud offsetting cloud providers. and describes what they are doing in this space. So this could give you some updates on what different providers are doing and might guide your decision in which cloud provider to choose. So beyond just the prices they offer, realize that the ones that are carbon neutral at least include the price of the carbon that is generated. Now, if you're using private infrastructure and it's not being carbon offset, the United Nations provides information on how to buy carbon offsets to offset what you're actually doing. So the point of all these is to basically for us to be responsible for our actions, to be aware and find practical solutions so that we don't worsen the problem here.